Okay, let's check together. Number 1 is already done. What about number 2? Which relative pronouns am I going to use? The mayor.
Who? That?
Another word. You can say this one too. Who is in New York for a meeting didn't answer the journalist question. My question is, everybody, is it a defining or non-defining clause?
Defining.
Not defining.
Non-defining, because this one is the extra information, right? This one is the extra information. Who is in New York for a meeting didn't answer the journalist. So if we read it without it, it still makes sense. The mayor didn't answer the journalist question. So that's how we realize that that is the extra information. And that is a non-defining clause. Okay, what about number 3? In a story about a man
Who? That? Which?
that, are you sure?
That?
Are you sure?
Which?
What about if we talk about possession? Which one do we use to talk about possession? Story about a man whose dog saves his life. That's another defining. It's a story about a man whose dog saved his life, right? So, I mean, his dog saved his life. So, possession. The dog belongs to the man. So we talk about whose for possession. Number 4, it's the store
that we were talking about yesterday.
We can say that, or we can use also and which. That's the store which or where we were talking about yesterday. Number 5, he lives on South Street.
Where is
And where, are you sure? He lives on South Street.
that, teacher?
Sorry?
That of who?
That.
Write it down. Yeah. That. Or you can also say which. That or which is also correct. Yeah. What about number 6? Mitchell's the person
Who
exactly, very clear. Who normally deals with computer problems. What about number 7? In July, I'm going to stay with my cousin Sarah. Sarah, who lives in Mexico, right? Number 8, that's the hospital
where I was born.
where referred to
Where?
is, right? The hospital where I was born. I say, hey, that's the place I was born. That's the house I live. All right, exactly, correct. Let's continue. And I think we have another one. All right, more sentences. We have a lot. All right. What I want you to do is now to check the sentences where need to yes are need to in this part where it's possible to omit the pronoun. In which one is it possible to omit the pronouns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So in which sentence you think it's possible to omit the pronoun? Any idea? Any idea? What about if we read number 1? That's the man I spoke to yesterday. Is that correct? It would make sense if we omit it. You say, that's the man I spoke to yesterday. Or you can say that's the man who I spoke to yesterday. Or if you read number 4, you can say, it's the store we were talking about yesterday. So maybe you might say, but how? Maybe it's not impossible. But in a more like an informal situation, most people try to omit these pronouns because they are like because here we just mentioned who I am talking about, the man. So that's the man I spoke to yesterday. You say, it's the store. You mentioned the store. The store we were talking about yesterday. So that's the store. So sometimes like in an informal situation, most people try to omit these pronouns, but it's more appropriate to use them as we talk. All right. Now let's do number 2. And in this part, you need to say, I need to rewrite or write another sentence, right? I mean the second sentence. So the second has the same meaning as the first one. But in this time, you need to use relative clauses. It can be a relative and non-defining clause or a defining clause. Number 1 is already done for you. Let me make it bigger. And now I got it. For example, we went to Bella Pizza. We had lunch there. Now I need to use a relative clause. You might say, we went to Bella Pizza, comma, where we had lunch. It's a non-defining clause. You might say, yeah, right? We went to Bella Pizza, comma, where we had lunch. So this is the extra information, right? And we say, no, that is a non-defining clause. What about number 2? Luke gave me a really interesting book yesterday. I'm reading it now. So what will you say? Luke gave me a really interesting book yesterday. Let's try to complete the language check. Okay, let me give you 2 minutes. Go. Yeah, try to complete. Complete number 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we check. There are 6 sentences. Yes, okay, go. Okay, let's check together. Number one is already done. So what about the next number two? Any volunteer?
Which reading now?
Yeah, Luke gave me a really interesting book yesterday, comma, which I'm reading now. Yes, correct. Number three says, look at the card. My uncle wants one. So look, that's the card
That my uncle wants.
that my uncle wants. Correct. Number four. Can you see park? Can you see the park over there? We are meeting there tomorrow. So you will say, that's the park
Where we're meeting tomorrow?
where we are meeting tomorrow. Okay. Fine. This is Mark. You met his brother last night. So you might say, this is Mark.
Who you met last night?
Who? Are you sure?
Yes, whose? You
Whose
meet
possession? Here I need to just refer to a possession. You say whose, right? Yes. Whose brother you met last night? Okay. Number six. A man left a message from me this morning. So what was his name? What was the name of the man?
which was his name?
Yes, who left a message for me this morning? That's correct. Right. Let me show you the answers. Are they correct or incorrect? Let's see. Yes. All right. Now, so let's keep moving. I think we have one more so that we can go back. Okay. Yeah. Do we still have time? Nothing with you. Okay. Now, I want you just to complete the next exercise that you have on this page, and on page one, the last one, number 3. Okay, I want you just to do it at home because we need to practice a little bit about pronunciation now. Okay, go back, please. You see, it's not that that difficult to handle all these different clauses. So those are defining and non-defining clauses. So now let's go and have some minutes to practice a little bit about pronunciation. So let's be focused on this. This is really important. Possonate, possening, relative, possum in relative clauses. So listen, we usually we stop a little before a clause that gives extra information. So the rule says that we are going to stop a little when you're going to give extra information. So listen to the sentences. What you have to do is to add commas where the pauses are. Anytime you were here, pause, give or yes, add a comma there. Okay? Number 1 says, the family who lives on my floor is really friendly. Do we need a comma? Maybe, probably no, but you're gonna add a comma where necessary, okay? Only for extra information, we need comma. Okay, listen and check.
1. The family who lives on my floor is really friendly. 2. My grandmother lives in Quito, which is in the north of Ecuador. 3. My brother, who is the chef, works at the hospital. 4. I get along well with the couple who lives in the apartment next to mine. 5. I don't see my cousins, who live in Argentina. 6. It's easy to park on the street where I live.
Okay, one more time so you make it clear.
1. The family who lives on my floor is really friendly. 2. My grandmother lives in Quito, which is in the north of Ecuador. 3. My brother, who is a chef, works at the hospital. 4. I get along well with the couple who lives in the apartment next to mine. 5. I don't see my cousins who live in Argentina. 6. It's easy to park on the street where I live.
Okay, now, number 1, do we need a comma?
Floor, between floor and is. The family who lives on the floor,
Are you
comma,
sure?
is really friendly.
Are you sure?
No, teacher, because it's the defining clause, relative clause.
It's a defining clause. We don't need a comma. Listen.
1. The family who lives on my floor is really friendly.
So not necessarily you need a comma. Second.
2. My grandmother lives in Quito, which is in the north of Ecuador.
Yes. What about the second one? Yes, because this is the extra information. So we need a comma right there. So you might say, my grandmother lives in Quito, comma, which is the north of Ecuador, because that is the extra information. Number 3, my brother, who is a chef, works at a hospital. Do we need a comma?
Before works.
Yeah, exactly. We need a comma right there. Yes, right? My brother, who is a chef, comma, works at a hospital. True. What about number 3? My brother, who is a okay. So number 3. Number 4. I get along well with the couple who lives in the apartment next to me, next to mine. Do we need a comma right there? Let me show you. What about number 5? I don't see my cousins. Yeah, we say, comma, who live in Argentina. I'm talking about non-defining clause. So this is the extra information. Number 6, it's easy to park on the street where I live. No comma, because it's a defining clause. Do you see the difference? All right. So what information do defining relative clauses give? So my question is, listen everybody. What information do defining relative clauses give? So what do they give? What kind of information do they give? They give essential information to the first, so they identify a person, they identify a place, they identify a thing. That is a defining relative clause because I give essential information, right? If you see the first one, the family who lives on my floor is really friendly. So this is all this information is essential. We can take any kind of sentence, any kind of word, because everything is essential in this idea. But in the second, yes, we can. We can say, my grandmother lives in Quito. That's correct. We can take the next part because that is the extra information. You see? All right. So what information do non-defining relative clauses give? They give extra information. And that's something that you should know from now on when you come across, when you want to let's say make or talk or use them in context or in your daily speech. Okay. Any question or comments before we continue? Now let's see. You are going to just write your own sentences, okay? And I want you to leave me your comments on the chat or just in your books or in your notebooks, okay? Right in time. I want you to write 2 or 3 sentences. Listen, you are going to write 2 or 3 sentences about who? About your friends and relatives. I want you to use non-defining relative clauses or defining relative clauses, okay? Let me give you 3 minutes and then we continue. Okay, go. You can leave me your comments, your sentence on the chat or in your notebooks, okay? Try to create your own sentences about your friends, about your family, about your relatives, using non-defining relative clauses or defining clauses. Okay, you have 3 minutes, go. Okay, and is there any volunteer or any volunteers? If you have finished, just raise your hand and read or share your comments. All right, Fiorella, you finished?
Yes, teacher.
Go.
My friend who lived in the US is a really good person.
Yeah, is that a defining or non-defining?
Not defining.
Yeah. Okay, that's correct. Right. Do you have another one? But that's the only one. Okay. Anybody else? If you have already one, go ahead. See that you finished? Okay, go.
Your family can also be your friends who are always with you.
Yeah, one more time, please. One more time.
Your family can also be your friends who are always with you.
Yeah, that's better. Okay, it's possible. That's right. Yeah, it's correct too. Yeah. Any other one?
Me, teacher.
Lisa, what about you?
Ariane, who is always very positive and kind, is my favorite person. Favorite friend, sorry.
Hey, there you are. That's a good too, right? Correct. That's another relative clause. Another clause? Anybody else? Come on, I want to hear your comments about this.
Teacher,
Mary?
defining my friend whose son is very hyperactive. Now defining Carlos is my best friend who lives in Colombia.
That's right. Correct. Thank you. Anybody else? Come on.
My teacher.
Jenny.
My friend who is so kind is working with kids, now defining.
Yeah.
What defining is Potosí is the city where my parents grew up.
Correct. Yes, you are correct. All right, Fabian.
Okay, teacher. My friend who I have known for 4 years is very funny, more defining. And the neighbor who lived above me is very noisy, defining.
Hey, clear. Right. Next one. Anybody else? Gentleman. Are you there? Gentleman? Miguel Ángel, Jose Miguel, Omar. What about you? But that's the idea, right? So anytime, Solange, you want to read about that?
This teacher, I live in Manaus, which in the north in Brazil.
Okay, that's correct too. Any other one?
I don't see my good father 5 years ago who lives in Spain.
That's another one. Right? All right. And let me give you another example. You can select. You are my students who are in the 5th level. That's another relative clause, right? Exactly. Or you say, you are my students who are learning English. All right, exactly. That's another one. So that's how we use these relative clauses to give essential information, to refer, to identify who, what we are talking about, and to give extra information. And we always use relative pronouns: who, where, how, whose, why, that, etc. Those are this. Okay. So any comment or question so far, so that we can move on? Any other question, comments? So let's move on. Let's take a deep breath and let's continue. Okay. We are going to just have and talk and yes, because it's your turn now. It's your turn to talk, right? Because the teacher's talking too much. Now it's going to be your turn to talk. But first of all, we need to get familiarized with the next topic. So let's get to the next part, okay? Can you please turn to the next page, 28. And we are going to have a short time to do a speaking practice. Right, here we go. Hey, talking time. We have another topic. So let's read it together. Fabia, can you read that topic aloud, please? And on page 28, what does it say?
Okay, teacher. El recuadro ese, ¿lo leo?
Read that topic. I have
some news.
Hey, I have some news. So when do we use this expression? Any idea? Does it refer to the world, to world news or personal news? When somebody tells you this, hey bro, hey buddy, I have some news. So does it refer to world news or personal news?
personal.
Jenny, why personal news?
I think that it sounds like an expression that is personal in that case.
Yeah, right. You come across with someone say, hey, buddy, we have some good news for you. It's more personal. Yes, has more personal news too. So what good or bad things have happened to you recently? Have you ever had a bad experience or a good experience recently? Yes. Have you ever experienced an embarrassing moment, a funny moment, or maybe yet something that you would like to share with us? You are going to do it later on. Okay, so what would you do or how would you feel if you receive a bad news? How would you feel? Or what would you do if you receive a bad news? A bad news, very bad news. What will you do? How will you feel?
I feel sad.
Sad. Most people feel sad. What else? We feel
Terrified.
frustrated. We feel like we cry sometimes, right? Yeah. If you have good news, listen, if you have good news, who would be the first person you will tell? Will tell it? Who would be the first person or the first people you will tell if you have some good news?
Happy. I feel happy. Excited.
Yeah, my
In my
question is,
case, I told to my mother.
yeah, Fidela will talk to your mother, right? You'll say, hey, mom, I got some good news and I'm going to share with you. Obviously, our parents, right? So in this part, we're going to talk about this one. Good news, some good news. How we can share our good news and bad news with people. And what are our reactions? How we react, how we, yes, and what's the way we tell what happened to you, right? So there are some expressions that we are going to use now, all right? So first of all, we are going to see the most common expression that we use when we tell news. You know what a news is. You know, it's a very important, how to say, event or something that happened to you. So let's look at these sentences that we have below. Which are good news and which are bad news? Number one says, I'm afraid you didn't get the job. Is that a good or bad news? Bad news. Instead, I'm sorry to tell you that you didn't get the job. Is that good or bad news?
Bad news.
Bad news.
Bad news.
Bad news.
Right? Let's suppose that you go to a job interview and then at the end says, I'm sorry to inform you to tell you that you didn't get the job. Yeah, it's a bad news. What about number two? We won the game. We are in a final. Bad or good news?
Good news.
Good news.
Good news, right? We always expect something like that, no? Number three, we've had a falling out with my best friend. What is it?
A bad news.
Bad news.
You know, when you just stop being friends and then you fall out. Or your rent going up by 20%. What about this one?
Bad news.
Yeah, bad news, right? Your rent is increasing. You have to pay more money. That is not good. Number five, she said, yes. What is it?
Good news.
Good news, right? Maybe you say, maybe it was like a proposal, right? Will you marry me? Yes. All right, maybe that's a good news, right? Another part. Okay, what about number six? I got a promotion.
Good news.
Good news.
Do you know what a promotion is? Promotion. When you are working in a company and then your boss says, hey, let me tell this that you are going to work in a higher level. Maybe you are like, how can I say this one? You're working as an assistant, but now you are going to work as a manager. That is a promotion, that you get a promotion that you're going to work in another level, in another area that is a bit higher, or maybe you're gonna be more paid about this one. Yeah. Another question that we are gonna discuss with you. What good news can you remember receiving in your life? Anybody? Remember about the good news that you received in your life. Alberto, what good news can you remember receiving in your life? And what do you say? Was it this reaction? Was it that your reactions?
When I in the university.
Me too.
After the test, yeah.
Yes, I was going to say the same. When I enter university, they say, you are admitted at the university. Hey, you say, yeah, I am. So you were happy. What do you say, Alberto?
I am with my family.
Do you cry?
Celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate.
I'm very happy.
All right. True. That's a nice moment when you enter university. Good. Anybody else? Any other thing that you have received in your life? And it was a very good news. And you say, what do you say? It's a very nice moment, when you receive a very good news. Then we have another one. Have you ever had to give someone bad news? How do you feel? Anybody? No, never. I don't like to give bad news to people because I feel bad about them. Imagine, let's suppose that you have a car accident and you were with somebody else and you need to inform your parents about that person and say, oh yeah, that will be a little bit like, maybe you will feel guilty about that thing. In a way, most people feel guilty, won't feel like bad about this. Now, listen, we are going to listen to these people from Learning Curve from this show, and we are going to see what are their news to us. Are they bad? Are they good? So let's listen, and let's listen to Penny and Simon. So you're going to answer this question as you watch. What news does Penny give Simon? What news? And how do they both feel about the news? Are the news bad? Good? So what are the news about? So Penny is going to share some good news or bad news to Simon, and you're going to answer these two questions as you watch. Okay, pay attention and let's see what they say and what they are going to share together. But it says like this, maybe good news, right? I have some news. We don't know if it's good or bad. I have some news, part one. Listen.
It's almost impossible to plan for how people will react to hearing bad news. We have a bit of a problem with our budget, some money problems. And today we need to tell two student workers, one here and one in London, that they cannot continue to work at Learning Curve. I'm here at the studio and I'm waiting for a call from Simon, my colleague at Learning Curve in London. I need to give him the bad news that he needs to give bad news to his very reliable worker. Simon and I have a lot in common. We were friends in childhood. We're both very confident and sociable, and we both hate being insensitive. Well, this sort of thing makes me feel anxious. I know he'll feel as bad as I do. Hello, Simon.
Hi, Penny. How are you? You wanted to talk to me?
Well, I'm afraid I have some bad news.
Really? What happened?
It's a long story.
I'm taking a break. Tell me about it.
Well, I spoke to our boss, Miss Farnsworth, this morning. You aren't going to believe this, but she's asking me to fire our student workers. Or more politely, I suppose we need to tell them that we can no longer keep them on.
Oh no, that's terrible. So I need to tell Peter that he can't work here anymore. But he's so great. He's considerate and he's always on time. I get on well with him. I'd hate to see him leave.
Yes, and I'm telling Sherry, I'm not looking forward to it at all. I got to know her and she's a very good worker. She's so easygoing. I'm really sorry to give you this news. I suppose you'll talk with Miss Farnsworth later on.
Yes, I imagine so. What about your workload? Will you be able to keep up?
I'm going to be taking on some of their jobs. It's going to be a bit of extra work.
Well, I suppose I should speak to Peter before he leaves today.
This is going to be awkward for both of us.
It certainly is. Good luck, Penny. I'll speak to you later.
All right, everybody. What about this? What news does Penny give Simon? What happened? Anybody? What news does Penny give Simon? Was it good news or bad news?
Bad news.
Bad news.
What happened? Yeah, it was bad. But what happened? What happened with Penny? Yes, it. What happened with their boss? Anybody? And how do they feel? How do we feel about bad news? Imagine this year. Their boss has decided that they can't keep their students, workers on. That was the bad news. So they had to say, no, we have to, how's that here? Fire you? Means that it's not, but maybe this is that they do it in a friendly way, but come on, this is very bad. And we feel upset. Imagine if someone said, you're fired, or we are not longer working with you anymore. Wow, that would be very bad. Okay, number 3, this part. And then we have this one, they want us to do this with you again. How did Penny give Simon the news? You remember? How did Simon respond? So this is, we're gonna be focused, how do they give the news? How do we give news? And how do we respond? Listen and complete these bubbles. Listen.
1. I'm afraid I have some bad news.
1.
2. Really? What happened? 3. You aren't going to believe this, but our boss is asking me to fire our student workers.
4. Oh no, that's terrible.
Yes, right. You remember about this? Which one do you like the most? So which phrase do you like? You are hired or you are fired? So which one you like the most? Which one will we always like? You are hired, you are fired. So you got these expressions. So let's listen once again. All right, listen once again.
1. I'm afraid I have some bad news.
2. Really? What happened? 3.
You aren't going to believe this, but our boss is asking me to fire our student workers.
4. Oh no, that's terrible.
Yes, you see? So when you give bad news, you say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. It's the same. I'll say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Or you say, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Really, what happened? You aren't going to believe this. Your boss, but our boss is asking me to fire. So what does fire mean? Our student workers. Have you ever heard about these phrases right here? Like when somebody says here, you are hired or you are fired. It means that you say you are going to belong, you are going to work at this company, and you are accepted to work in this company. But fired, just the opposite. I mean, you are not going to work with us anymore. You are fired. Yes, that makes like this. Okay, now let's keep moving now. We are going to see some expressions or phrases that we can use to give news. How do we news to people? The first expression that we use to give is like as I said already, I'm afraid I have some bad news, or you say about some bad or good news. Or say, I'm really sorry to say this, but you are fired. Or you aren't going to believe this, but my boss just fired me. Or great news, you say, I'm hired for this position. Okay, guess what? I am, or I'm going to be selected for this position. Yeah, right. So we can use these different phrases to express, to give news to everyone. It can be good or bad. And how do we respond? If somebody say here, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Say, that's a relief. Oh no, that's terrible. I say, what a shame. That's too bad. It's in case that you respond to a bad news. You say, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic news. Or I'm absolutely thrilled for you. Congratulations. So that's the way we respond to these different kind of news. All right. So let's try to categorize all these words. Let's try to categorize when we just give good news. So which phrase do we use when we want to give good news? Maybe you must say, great news. I'm happy for you. Or you say, guess what? Or what about giving bad news? So we have seen them, right? So let me show you them. I got it over here. When you're gonna just talk about give like good news, you must say, great. You're gonna say, I am happy for you. Or maybe you say, you aren't going to believe this, but guess what happened to me? Or when you give bad news, you might say, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Or I'm really sorry to say this, but you are fired. You aren't going to believe it. And how can we respond to good news? This is how we respond. You say, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic news. Or I'm so thrilled for you. Congratulations. Or you just say congratulations, or that's a relief. Or I'm happy for you. Respond to bad news. Oh no, that's terrible. What a shame. What a pity. That's too bad. Or that's too depressed or something like frustrating. So those are the most common phrases that we can use to give or respond to this news. All right, you are going to share with us your news in the next part. Okay, let's keep moving. We need to watch the second part. But before we go to the second part, let me just complete this number 5 with you so that we can see these phrases in context. So we got this word, awful, thrilled, afraid, shame, wonderful, and congratulations. I will try to complete. And this is a conversation that we're taking from the video thing. And this has to be about news. So can you try to complete? Oh, let's do it together, right? Great news says, I've been offered a job writing for a new magazine. All right, that's the new. That is the new. How do we respond? We say, wow. We might say,
That's fantastic.
That is fantastic news. I'm absolutely thrilled.
For you?
It's a thrilled for you when you start. Thrilled means you're so happy. You are so, like you feel good about them. Yeah. Next says, next month, I can't wait. It's a really exciting place. It's a really exciting place to work. What about their response? Many women say,
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
That is wonderful. Congratulations. That's another way on how we can respond to good news. And say, next one. How are things with you? I mean, how's it going? Or how are things with you? You say, well, I'm afraid I have some bad news. I broke my leg last week. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's
Awful.
That's awful. What a
shame.
Shame.
Exactly. Qué
Shame.
pena. What a shame. What a shame. I'm so sorry for hearing this bad news. All right. So we use these phrases to respond, to give different kind of news. Listen to the second part of the show. Let's hop in. All right. All right. Here we go. You're going to just watch the second part of the show and you're going to tell me, what news does Sherry give Penny? And how does Penny feel about this? And how does Simon feel about this? So let's listen to Sherry. She's going to share with us her news. Are they bad or good? So let's go. I have some news. Part 2. Listen, please.
Well, now I need to ring Sherry and ask her to come in to see me today. She's a great worker and it will be difficult to see her go. What a shame. But as Miss Farnsworth says, it's just business. Hello? Hello, Sherry. This is Penny from Learning Curve.
Hi, Penny. I'm so glad you called. I have some news. Well, it's good news for me, but it's sort of bad news for you.
Oh, really?
Yes. Well, you know that I study fashion at college, right? Well, I got a great job offer to work at a department store that I just love. And it's in my neighborhood, much closer to my apartment. It's a great opportunity to work with customers. So I'm really sorry to say this, but I'm resigning. I can work another week if you need me.
Oh, Sherry, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic news.
Oh, great. I mean, so you're not upset?
Well, of course, we'll miss you, but I'm absolutely thrilled for you. Congratulations. I know you'll do a great job.
Oh, gee. Sorry, you called to tell me something. What was it?
Nothing important. It's okay, I'll handle it.
Great. Thanks, Penny. See you tomorrow afternoon.
Bye, Sherry. Phew, I'm so relieved. I'm going to video chat with Simon now. I want to find out what happened with Peter.
Penny, do you have any news?
Yes, I have some great news. I spoke with Sherry.
Great news? What do you mean? What did she say?
Well, I didn't need to ask Sherry to leave. She's quit. She's going to start a new job at a department store.
Wow, that's a relief. So glad you didn't have to give her the bad news. Oh, I have some good news myself. Peter can stay on. Miss Farnsworth rang me right after you called.
Simon, that's wonderful. What did she say?
Well, she's made some changes, so we have a bit more money. So I think you'll get a new student worker next week. Miss Farnsworth is going to ring you in a bit.
That's the best news I've had all day. Thanks, Simon. Talk to you later. You said it's so late. He's never this late. I wonder what happened.
Hey, Penny. I'm sorry I'm so late. I couldn't even text you. You'll never believe what happened on my commute.
No, here I go again. What happened? Here, sit down. Tell me all about it. I just put on some coffee.
Let me catch my breath. I'll tell you all about it. Have some news.
All right, very clear too. So what happened to Penny. I mean, what news does Sherry give Penny? What happened with Sherry? What news does she give Penny? That she's going to? Where is she going?
Job.
Sorry?
Sherry gets a job in a department store.
Yeah, she has been offered a new job in a different place. So she's going to resign. She's going to resign. Yeah. What about 2? How does Penny feel about that news? How does she feel? Obviously, if it's good, she feels happy. She's happy for her. Okay, what about Simon? How does Simon feel about this? How does he feel? He feels happy, distressed, or relieved. Now let's keep moving. All right, that you're right. What about the next one? I mean, you know, when we are going to give especially bad news, and we often try to do it in a sensitive way. Sensitive way, it means that you need to feel a bit sorry. You need to feel like that you feel bad for him, for her. You prepare the person first. You need to tell him or her that you have bad news, and what do you say? You briefly explain the situation behind the bad news. You need to say, sorry, but the thing is this happened, that. So you need to explain a little bit more in detail what happened. And then you say exactly what the bad news is. So you cannot go yet exactly to the point because you are going to make that person cry if it's a bad news. Okay? So be sympathetic. When we say be sympathetic, it's that you need to feel sorry or say that you are really sorry. Okay, and you are like that. You feel a little bit like guilty or that you feel sorry for him or for her. Okay, now and let's see how you or what are your reactions telling your own news. Okay, we are going to work in pairs because this is going to be the last part. Okay, and then we just finish. Let's do it very quickly. Okay, so the sooner the better. So look at this point number 9. You are going to work in pairs. So you're going to choose only one situation. You decide who's going to be student A or B, okay? So you need to read a situation and then you are going to start. Take turns to give your news to your partner. Situation 1, what does this say? You've been offered an amazing job in another city, but you're worried your parents will be upset that you are leaving. Tell your mother, your father the news. That's the situation. And what about B? Says him. You student A, your student A's mother or father. So listen and respond to the news. You ask the question and continue to the conversation. Or you can choose situation 2. Okay? So based on this situation, you are going to think about and what you will say. Okay, imagine, use your imagination, be creative and use the language. Okay, sound sympathetic and take this expression that we have seen to give news, to share news and to respond the different news. Okay, I'm gonna give you, let's say here 5 minutes for you. I want to make it like very fast. Okay, 5 minutes and then we just go back to the main room and each pair is going to share your news with us. Okay, clear? Can we start? So let's begin, okay? Let's do it quickly. So we finish and then we're done, okay? And we believe. So here we go. You are going to receive, okay, listen. After 5 or 6 minutes, we are going to go back to the main room and then each you in pairs are going to share your news. You're going to ask questions, you're going to give your news, you're going to respond, you're going to react, you're going to sound sympathetic, and so on, okay? 6 minutes, and then we go back, okay? 1, 2, 3. Get ready and go. Click on that request you're getting now, please. You're getting a request for joining a new room. Click on that request, please. Jose Miguel, are you there? Mary, are you there? Mary, are you there? Hello, Mary. All right, is everybody here? So I think nobody's missing. Now let's listen and let's begin with volunteers. All right, so you are, each person is gonna share and your news together. All right, anybody, any volunteer that would like to start? Volunteers? No? All right, let me call Alberto, Orellana, and Fiorella. You go first.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Dad. You're going to believe this. Guess what?
What happens with?
Look, you know that Spain is the country of my dream, yeah? So yesterday I received a call of a great company in Spain, and they offer me a good job there. Isn't that great?
That's wonderful news. Congrats. It's a fantastic news. I'm absolutely thrilled for you.
You're not angry?
Are you kidding? It's a city, it's your dreams. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. Follow your dreams here.
Okay. Thanks, Dad.
It's absolutely okay. That's all, teacher.
Hey, that's the way you should do it. Like, feel it. Like, do it. Imagine that you had a real news and that's it. That believe that you have it, that kind of things with you. Okay, perfect. Fiorella, Alberto was clear. All right. Now, and anybody else? Okay, let me call the next one.